All right. Well, welcome to EBV-SPARK Week 3, everybody. We're so happy to have you back. I would like to first welcome back Rachel Bell, your instructor, and then also introduce Michaela Dower, who is one of my colleagues who will be helping with SPARK. And while I am out of town next week, she will be here taking my spot. So welcome, Michaela. And then we also have our speaker, subject matter expert, and a favorite, Elizabeth Wimer, here with us tonight. So she will get started in just a moment. Elizabeth is an assistant teaching professor leading courses on management, marketing, entrepreneurship, sales, and creative problem solving. Her experience in entrepreneurial ventures and her passion for management translates into courses, consulting, and speaking engagements in entrepreneurship, ideation, marketing, creative problem solving, personal selling, management, and customer service. Her consulting work has taken her throughout the United States and also to Dubai, Saudi Arabia, Kenya, and the UK. And her passion for education has led her most recently to South Sudan to volunteer to teach at an understaffed school in rural Africa. Prior to her career in academia, she served as the director of marketing and public relations for exclusive independent hotels in Maryland and in upstate New York. She is a graduate of Syracuse University with a master's in rhetorical studies, speech communication, and Hood College with a bachelor's in communication. So welcome, Elizabeth. I will turn it over to you if nobody has any questions.
Thank you. So a couple of things that you didn't mention. I am based in Syracuse and there's a frost warning tonight. So there's a reason why I am this pasty white in May, because it's ridiculous. So if you live anywhere outside of Syracuse, consider yourself lucky. You probably have something relative to Jennifer's background right now, which is the only place that I want to be, not Syracuse. The other important thing that Tiffany forgot to mention is on my first slide. So let me just start sharing right now. Let's see, this together, there it is. Probably the most important thing that you'll need to know about me is that I'm ridiculously caffeinated. And so by this time at night, I will try to talk slowly. It may be wearing off, but for the most part, you will find that I am perhaps the most caffeinated professor you've had or instructor for this. And I take that title proudly. I'd also like to note that Jarek has been impressed with absolutely nothing said about me tonight. So I am here to win Jarek over. That is my life mission for this event. Right now, he gives me 0 out of 10. Let's see if we can get that to a 1. So tonight we're talking about foundations of marketing. And there's a couple of things that I want to tell you before we get into what I consider the most fun part. And that's the question and answer and the what about this? And I was thinking about that phase of our presentation. When we talk about marketing, the first thing that I want to talk about is why entrepreneurial marketing is presented to you instead of conventional marketing. So before we talk about why entrepreneurial marketing, I want to talk to you about what it is. Entrepreneurial marketing is not just for entrepreneurs. So as we talk more about the hallmarks of entrepreneurial marketing, you'll find that it's not only for entrepreneurs to use, it's not just for small businesses. In fact, the degree and frequency that you use entrepreneurial marketing tactics are shared among entrepreneurs and conventional businesses as well. It's also not all guerrilla marketing, guerrilla being that unexpected marketing where it pops up out of nowhere, that inclination to go viral. That's part of some tactics that some entrepreneurs use sometimes, but that's not what we're talking about today. That's not the whole plan. That's not the whole scheme of entrepreneurial marketing. Entrepreneurial marketing instead is about thinking about your customer and connecting to your customer in a way that conventional marketing doesn't quite approach in the same light. So conventional marketing, for those of you that are going into the deep end of marketing without a whole lot of background, conventional marketing, what you see every toothpaste or beer product try to do is position their product, their price, their place, and their promotion. And when you think about those 4 Ps, as we call the 4 Ps of conventional marketing, it's the marketer's view of the world. They say, how can I get my product into the hands of the consumer? What's the right price for me to sell the most? Where do I need to distribute it? What place do I need to be in? And then specifically, how do I tell them and how often can I tell them and talk to them? That's the promotion. What I want to challenge you to do, no matter what stage you're in your ideation or business launch phase, is when you start to think about communicating to your customer, when you start to think about marketing, talk about the 4 C's. It's the customer's view of the world, and it helps you connect to them in a more authentic and impactful way. So instead of saying, here's my product, think about what solution you're offering your customer. What's the customer solution that you have in mind? And instead of thinking about, what do I need to price this? What are other people pricing? What's the most I can get? Think about the customer cost. And the customer cost is not always only the amount of money they're willing to pay. Here's our first pop quiz for the night. How many people go to Starbucks somewhat regularly? Okay, we have, no, I don't believe you, Jarek. Nope. Okay, Leslie, I believe you. Okay, so Leslie, do you prefer drive-through or walk-in? That wasn't the hardest question.
Drive-through.
Okay, drive-through. Okay. All right. So Leslie, Jarek, please, you just made that on your Cricut for this camera. That was embarrassing for both of us that you could craft that quickly. All right, Leslie, so you're heading to Starbucks and you see 5 cars in the drive-through line. Do you get in line?
Most days, yes.
Okay, that's good. Leslie, there's 8 cars in the drive-through line. You getting in? You're going to be the 9th?
No.
So somewhere between 5 and 8, what we have determined is the cost Leslie is not going to park. When we think about cost, we don't just think about how much money, we think about the customer's time too. So what's the difference between 5 and 8 for you, Leslie?
The time. Wait.
There's something about seeing 5 cars versus 8 cars that says it costs too much, right?
Right.
Well done. That's exactly the right answers. You get 100 bonus points, and I'm going to take 100 out of Jarek's bonus points to give them to you. Okay, good. You're winning. Okay, you cut out a little. I think it was a good dig at Jarek. That's okay. Just pop it in the chat. We'll get it later. All right, so the customer cost is the second piece. We want to think about what we're asking our customers to give up, both in price as well as their time, how much effort it takes to find your service. That's part of the customer cost, as well as the customer convenience. The convenience is not just how easy it is to find your product or service, but also how easy it is to engage it, especially if you're thinking about building a service. So maybe I can get all the information, but I have to go through 3 different website forms to just get in touch with you or to get an estimate of how much the price will be. That is both the customer cost and the convenience that you need to consider when you're thinking about building your product or service. And then the last is customer communication. And for entrepreneurs, this should be a 2-way communication. It should be continual, not you telling your customer about the product, the service that you're offering, but listening as well so that you can refine and adapt and continue to make that connection with your customer that serves both of you well. All right, I told you I'm talking fast. This isn't as fast as I talk at 9 a.m., but it is pretty fast. Those were our outlines of marketing from our conventional point of view. If you're ever on Jeopardy and they say, what are the 4 key pieces of marketing? It's definitely the 4 Ps. But if you actually want to attract and retain customers, it's the 4 Cs. It's the customer solution, customer cost, customer convenience, and customer communication. Oh, Kamala just opened her notebook. It's getting serious. She's like, oh, Jeopardy. I'm going there next week. Let me write this down. Okay. All right, so what else about entrepreneurial marketing do we need to know? Now that we know we're looking at it from the customer's view of the world, we also need to know what makes entrepreneurial marketing entrepreneurial and not conventional. Well, the very first part, or the first hallmark of entrepreneurial marketing, is that it's targeted. Most conventional or mass advertising is just that. It's advertising to many people and hoping the message sticks with your target audience. Entrepreneurial marketing, or marketing from an entrepreneur's perspective, has to be targeted. You're only speaking to the people that you know are going to want to be in a relationship with your product or service. It's always targeted. The second main part of entrepreneurial marketing is that it's adaptive. This is a superpower that entrepreneurs have that conventional marketers don't. If you start to roll out an idea of how to communicate with your customer and you see it's not connecting, as entrepreneurs, you're able to quickly adapt and shift and change the message, change the technique, drop the social media campaign, because you are able to adapt with feedback in real time. When big companies launch a new product, they have a lot of investment, both in R&D and focus groups, and even the color of the label, the alternate color of the label. There's so much invested in that product in the marketing campaign, they can't quickly switch. They're not as adaptive as entrepreneurs. So it's part of your entrepreneurial marketing tactics that is unique to entrepreneurs and can be a superpower. The third entrepreneurial marketing hallmark is that you have limited resources to invest, which means that your time, your effort, your financial investment for marketing is not endless. So it has to be creative. It has to be funneled to your target audience. And keeping that in mind means that you're going to be more intentional and more focused on connecting with your customer in a meaningful way. It also means you really probably don't have a lot of money to spend on formal research and analysis. You can't scale up to host 100 focus groups for 1,000 people each. Instead, you're going to listen to your customer in real time, and you're going to adapt and change in real time to it. Focuses back to that adaptive piece. It can be a superpower if you let it, if you listen to what your customer is saying. And then above all, entrepreneurial marketing is creative. It takes the very limited resources that you have to invest, and it creates something that resonates with your targeted group in a meaningful way to begin and continue a long-term relationship with your customer that eventually will lead you for big return from limited resources. That's entrepreneurial marketing. Now, one of the questions that I typically get asked when I talk about entrepreneurial marketing is, I hear what you're saying about price, but how do I know exactly how much to charge? So I put together a little overview on price, value, and teeter-totters. Now, the main message I want you to see from the top part of this slide is that your price and your value have to be treated like a teeter-totter. If your price is too low and your value is too high, your customer is suspicious. They're saying, how can I get something this high value for this low price? And they're not going to return. Now, the opposite is true. If your value is too low and your price is too high, your customer says, not worth it, and they don't come back. Your job is to balance it, that your price and your value are balanced so your customer understands how you're offering value to them and accepts it in the terms of paying the price. Now, for entrepreneurs, you're pricing more than just the physical product or the time spent in the service. You have a lot more in your pricing objectives. And part of that is pricing with integrity and sometimes proactively leading the market. One of my examples for this is a local candle company. So you can see it in the corner. It's Witty Wicks. She sells soy candles. Now, how many people have purchased a soy candle at somewhere other than this person's local shop? Have you bought a soy candle? Yes. Van, where did you buy a soy candle? Van, you gave me like a wave, but now you're backing off the soy candle. So we're going right to Jarek. Jarek, I bet you have a soy candle behind you right now. No soy candle. Where could you buy a soy candle?
I have.
Okay.
Right, a vendor in the mall.
Yeah. Nothing special, right? But it was there. You bought a soy candle. That's a great example. Nydia, where have you bought a soy candle?
I actually bought one from a girl that was doing a demo on soy candles, and she provided us with a little gift to make our own, and I liked it so much that I bought one from her.
Oh, how much did your soy candle cost, if you don't mind us asking?
So it was $15.
$15 for small, medium, or large?
I would say probably medium, but I really liked the scent.
Okay.
And I really liked, her mission, I guess, kind of. So.
Oh, okay, not a plant, but you just said the right answer. So When you think about pricing your product, see what I have down at the bottom of the slide where it says that you as entrepreneurs are going to price the product offering bundle. Anything that impacts how the value of your product or service is communicated to your customer, that's part of the price. So when Nydia said, you know what, I really liked her mission. I really liked what her business was about. That's part of your product offering bundle. It's not just the soy candle. You can buy a soy candle at Walmart. You can buy one at Target. You can buy one anywhere most candles are sold. There's nothing special about that product. The special piece of this particular candle company that I'm highlighting here is not just that she uses clean wax and she has a mission for only the best ingredients and the highest essential oils, but it's also her, the entrepreneur. She has a background in theater. And so anyone that comes into her store, she's able to flex and adapt and kind of bring them into a storyline or connect with them in a way that you really don't get if you go buy a candle at Target. And so it's important for her to be able to price that service, just the value of meeting her and being in the store with her, because her big candles cost like $28. You could get the same size candle at Target for $12.99. But she's successful because she's priced not just the candle, but the whole experience of being part of Witty Wix is the name, Witty Wix store and what they have to offer. So you might be thinking to yourself, well, I don't have a theater background. Probably only Jarek has a theater background. So how am I going to price my product or service? Let me tell you where your value might lie. When you think about how you're pricing your product or service, take a look at this level, this layered list of values that you might offer in your product or service. Now, when you think about how to communicate to your customer, you're not going to try to hit every single one of these. There's only 2 on this list that you're concerned with. The first is where your product is the very strongest, and the second is where your targeted customer is most concerned. Once in a blue moon, those 2 questions have the same bullet point answer. But 99% of the time, they're 2 different answers, which means you can focus your whole communication message just on telling your customer from this list what your product or service is strongest at, and also what they're most concerned with and how you can alleviate that concern. If you think about the candles, their customer or the customer of Witty Wix was most interested in the ongoing relationship. They wanted to be part of this whole story of the candle lady and what was going on there. She was offering a really high quality candle. So she absolutely communicated that, but she took advantage of both parts of that list, what she was strongest at and what her customer was most concerned with. So when you think about how you're going to price your value, start with that list and think about what you're the best at and what your customer is most concerned with. Once you have that list, then you're ready to focus on your market positioning. You're going to just limit to the 2 or 3 differentiating aspects, those 2 pieces from the list, maybe one other, especially if you're offering something technical and you need to have a specific information available to your partner. And then you're going to build your marketing plan around just those 2 or 3 differentiating aspects. And when I say build your plan, when I say communicate to your customer, it's worth it to take a few minutes to talk about what it's like to communicate that. Because very often entrepreneurs get caught up in features and they forget that their customer is mostly concerned with benefits. My example for the difference between benefits and features is a salad spinner. Who owns a salad spinner? Got a couple. Okay, all right. Corey seemed particularly enthusiastic about the salad spinner. So Corey, tell those that don't have a salad spinner, what is it about a salad spinner that's amazing?
Well, it definitely helps with prep work. Keeps your vegetables pretty, fresh. But the thing that I love about it is probably the secondary feature is it relieves stress because you just get to slam the little knob on it.
So that's where your customer is most concerned that the salad spinner people have not even thought of. So Corey, I feel like we have some market research going on here that we could offer the salad spinners. Now, for those in the room that might not own one, I'm not sure. Ricardo, do you own a salad spinner? No, Ricardo's like, relieve stress, tell me more. Just explain to Ricardo the function of a salad spinner so that we could be on the same page.
Well, a salad spinner is basically a strainer basket inside of a bowl, and it uses centrifugal force to separate the water from the vegetables that you just rinsed and washed. So the way that it generates that force is either there's two models. There's either a push button version that's on top of the lid, or there's a pull string version, as far as I know. And yeah, either way, they're pretty great to use just to get out some anger.
Okay, so a couple things we learned. A, Ricardo now knows what he wants for his next birthday. And B, Corey, are you an engineer or are you just really into salad spinners? Because that was a very detailed analysis of a basic kitchen appliance.
Well, I mean, I have a background and I have a degree. I have a science degree already. I have a
That's
degree in
not
biology,
bad.
so yeah.
That's just one step away from salad spinning. All right, well done. I might need to take you on the road with me there for the salad spinning explanation. So in case you're wondering why we've spent so much time talking about salad spinners, it is my example between features and benefits. Now, Corey actually did a really good job talking about features when he said things like centrifugal force, when he said maybe something along the lines of high velocity pull cord mechanism, which was actually printed on the box of the most recent salad spinner I own. So when I purchased this salad spinner, on the top of the box, it promised me that there would be a high velocity pull cord mechanism inside. Now, for most people buying a salad spinner, that's not the thing that's going to get them to take it off the shelf. It's because the brand was using a feature to try to convince me to buy. A feature is a fact. It's not going to change about your product. And it might be one of the things you're most excited about if you are in especially a technical space and you want to communicate the details. Features are helpful, but they don't convince people the same way that benefits do. When you talk about a benefit, it's things like the pictures of an easy to pull self-retracting cord. Look at Ricardo leaning into his screen. He's buying a salad spinner on Amazon before the night ends. I feel it. I feel it. An integrated braking mechanism. The pictures tell a different story along with the way that it's described when it's described as a benefit. So this winding road we've went through very quickly tonight for marketing is not the fact that you need to have a targeted audience, that you need to have a solution, that you need to be convenient and take advantage or take into consideration all of the costs. That's where we start, but then you also need to consider things like the value and how you price the value, and then how you communicate the value, like benefits and features. More benefits than features. All right, that's the end of my dog and pony show for marketing. I like to spend most of my time talking about questions and what I can answer specific to this group. So I've stopped my share. I haven't looked in the chat at all. I'll let those more gifted moderate our Q&A time.
We did have two come in just a few minutes ago. So Ricardo and then Will, if you'd like to come off mute.
Sure. You want me to ask my question? Sure.
Well, is it about a salad spinner?
No, that'll be done tonight.
Okay, good, good. That's really the only concern I have now. We can take another question. Go ahead.
Yeah, but my question is, I'm in government contracting. So how do the principles that you have given us fit into that model?
So you have a very technical feature-based space. You need to have those features correct. When you go in to talk about how you can provide a service, how you want a contract above everyone else that might be able to fulfill the same contract, your facts, your features better be lined up. What's more important, though, is that you translate them into a benefit about why Ricardo's going to fulfill that contract in a way that Jarek's absolutely not going to. So we have to be sure that you have your features together, but your benefit is where you talk about what makes you and your business different. What on that list that I showed you, do you offer quality that's above and beyond the competitor? Or do you have a specific expertise that most others don't? When you look at that list, you're going to say, where am I really the strongest? And then you're going to build your benefits around that.
Then that'll happen in the capability statement.
Yes, so that's a perfect place for you to make all that magic come together and put in there. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Will, go ahead.
Thank you. And Elizabeth, thank you for the presentation and the information. The question I have is around like the company brand and talking about the company and the values of the company versus the values or the features and attributes of your product or your service. Do they need to coincide at all, or does it matter? Like if, well, I guess it would, but do you have to have the same type of features listed, I guess, that go with your like company's branding? So if you have a tool or something, does it have to match what your company is about, or what if it's like something completely different?
So how many products do you currently envision or have for your company? How many different products?
One with a lot of different features, I guess. It's like a software platform.
Okay. But you said pool. Just a moment ago, I was like, are we putting on our swimsuits and jumping into a pool? We're not. This is a software pool we're talking about. Will, we've taken a right turn here.
Oh yeah, it's a pool of different things. Like there's a lot of things you can do within it. So
There are no floating daiquiris in this pool, are there?
there's a couple, but that's one of the few features.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay. So my original answer was going to be, especially as entrepreneurs begin, sometimes it's tempting to say, I'm going to build my brand and then I'm going to have a product that people are going to really like. I encourage you to think about connecting to your customer through the product and then having a brand statement, a mission statement that is all encompassing. So if you want to diversify and have new products, they can still fall under that umbrella. But the brand itself is not likely to be monetized unless you're thinking that one day you're going to sell the last name Tyndall in the same way that Nike is selling Nike logos everywhere. That's really not the place you want to invest your resources because it's not going to be likely to be monetized. So absolutely have the overarching brand so that when you come out with a new product or a new pool daiquiri, then you have the customers that say, oh, this is brought to me by Will Tyndall. Well, absolutely, I want it. But that's not the first investment. The first investment is to communicate related to the product. Does that make sense?
It does. Thank you.
Okay.
Renaya, go ahead.
Hey everyone. Hi Elizabeth. Thank you so much for this presentation. This is pretty amazing. Good stuff. I just wanted to kind of piggyback, I think, off of Ricardo earlier. I know he said that he was getting into like government contracting or something of that nature, right? And what I've learned is that when it comes to federal government, maybe even state governments, I feel like they cut corners. They want quality, but they focus more on quantity. So I feel like in his field or in that arena, I can't even say it right, arena. Yeah. I feel like he's going to really have to hone in and focus on like let's just say his price is a little more than the other companies entities that's coming at the federal government offering. I feel like he's going to really have to sell those benefits more than anything for them to say, you know what, he's $10 per unit more, but this benefit, the convenience of it all for our contractors and for our federal government employees is going to be so much better. You know what I mean? I feel like it's more challenging in that arena. Does that make sense?
You're getting a big nod from Ricardo. So I think that he's just now voted you in as TA of the session. Thank you. And you also are you're actually moving back to that slide. I said that you need to figure out where your customer's most concerned and then where you're strongest too. So you beautifully highlighted how important it is to know that cost is at the forefront of your customer's mind so that you tell them about return on investment and how that higher investment is going to pay back, maybe not financially, but perhaps in the effort load or in some other human resource way. So well done, officially promoted to TA.
Oh, why, thank you. I'm thinking of productivity. It's going to cost more, but productivity is going to be faster, which means you can, save money that way. So, okay, thank you.
Yep.
Opening it up. Come on with your questions.
Well, I have a question. So I run a service business, and Sorry. Yeah. So mine is for cleaning. It's a cleaning business. So it doesn't really sell any products, though. I was wondering, like, I usually have to sell myself, really. And all the stuff that you described in this session, yeah, it definitely rings, pretty true with that. But um I'm wondering if because there's always right now is like a big time, like I have to, like, I'm basically in competition with like bigger people, right, with like Stanley Steamer and stuff like that. um and although I'm trying to pay for marketing, like Facebook marketing or lead generation websites and stuff like that, still it's like I need to find something that can separate me from the other people, because I feel like I provide a valuable service and at a pretty good cost. But I just don't know how to really communicate that.
So, who do you clean for? Because there's a whole range of cleaning services. Are you cleaning for like my 95-year-old Nona who only wants to pay $15 for her whole house? Or are you cleaning for my uber rich friend who's like, I'll pay you $1,000, just dust the floor? Who is your space?
Yeah.
Who's your targeted group?
Yeah, right now it's probably somewhere in the middle, because like right now it's like I try to take whatever work I can get. But yeah, well last month I actually did the best month I've had over this year of having this business. It's just me that's doing it right now, but I made $2,000 and only worked about 16 hours doing just the carpet cleaning, the pressure washing. So I guess it's more, I've most of my customer, yeah, somewhere in like the middle of what you described. So more like the what's called like the middle class, like just regular family homes and stuff like that.
So you want to, I think the most fruitful thing for you to do right now is to figure out your targeted group more than just in the middle. Like you have a good sense at them, but try to write down exactly who they are and how much usage they have. Do they need you once a year to pressure wash their deck, or do they need you every week to steam clean the carpet that their 2-year-old keeps putting peanut butter in? So I think you know who your targeted group is, and then Will is now promoted to TA just like that. Renee is going to lose it. You have to build your ideal customer profile. You have to figure out who they are based on who you've had that most success with. And the fact that you said last month was so successful, perfect. Who were they? What did they look like? And then how can you get that group? Rachel, you're nodding so much. Just tell them this is it. Yes, right?
You're absolutely reinforcing, like, it's like you were there with us last week, because we were talking about like, know who your sweet spot is. Who is your sweet spot of a target customer? This is great. I love it.
Yeah, well, every now and then I'll get a few customers on either extremes, and I'll always prefer the more wealthier ones that are willing to just pay and not negotiate me and haggle me on the price. So I'll always try to favor them, because I guess my motto is, and I heard it many times before from other people in similar like cleaning situations. What do you want to do? Do you want to work for do you want to work for multiple people with lower pay, or less people with higher pay?
Yeah, like I said, you have all the answers. I think it's just a matter of capturing them and then building out from your experience.
Yeah.
All right, my hand raising profile is backing up here. Who's next, Tiffany?
Pamela is up.
Hello, good evening, everyone, and thank you so much. This was like towards the area that I wanted to discuss, marketing. So for me, I am also doing government contracting. So that's my targeted audience. So when we're talking about services and product, I consider myself a product because I'm trying to sell myself. Not in that sense, but but my expertise. So just like how he was saying, for me, it's more about, they want Tamla Green Logistics Unlimited as a product and a service because of my expertise. So how do you blend those two together and make it into one?
So there's a reason that I use the candle example for this particular session, because there's so many service-based ideas or businesses in the works. And it's that same idea of what it is that makes you unique. And the fact that you hit logistics so hard when you said whatever the long name was, like, I'm getting the sense that there's high productivity coming off of you and you're not missing a detail. Like, there will not be a detail missed under Tamila's watch. And so if that's the thing that maybe you can offer that no one else can, then that's your differentiating factor. So just like I was saying with the candle lady, she makes great candles, but her background in theater, her personality is the thing that sells it. What is it about you that's the differentiating factor? Where are you strongest? Where do they want to build that relationship with?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Renaya, I'm sorry. I thought your hand was just left up, but if you'd like to ask your question, you were up.
Actually, it was. I forgot to take it down.
Oh, okay. Not a problem. Jarek, you are up.
Well. So what would be the best way to approach community building and create value through that?
I like how you've told me nothing. You've just asked a very general question. Okay, so you're
Very
trying
general.
to
I'm trying to figure out how to create value out of,
community building.
customer community building.
So you want to be nice to people so they spend their money with you?
Yes.
Okay, what is your product or service?
Let's say it's a haberdashery and a apothecary.
It's a haberdashery and an apothecary. Okay, so you have, the way you said it so off the cuff, I thought you were going to say, I'm going to be a government contractor, but then you said haberdashery. All right, so you have a haberdashery and an apothecary, and you want to build community. Well, the type of people that are coming into a haberdashery and an apothecary are people that have a very specific idea of wellness. So you, not you alone, but you in partnership with other subject matter experts can create a wellness event. You could create a guest post on a podcast that's already reaching that wellness community in your neighborhood and talk about that new product in your apothecary that's only available for a limited time and the medicinal benefits of it. Sometimes community building, entrepreneurs think about it like, I have to build a community, when actually it's more about collaborating. So it's collaborating about the people that are already in touch with your target audience. They're already reaching them in an effective way. And you just bring in your particular area of subject matter expertise and haberdashery magic in this case, clearly. Is Will up next? Will taking his name, his brand worldwide.
Here I go. Thank you again, Elizabeth. My question is around consistency with marketing. So right now in my current role, and I have my job and then I have what I want to do, which is build this great thing. I do email marketing to get people to sign up for a program, and people get an email, they read it, great, they click the button, awesome. If I'm starting something new and I don't already have emails, and I'm trying to find out different ways to get people in, how often should I be reaching out to people, or how much is too much as far as communication or trying to get someone to adopt what it is that you're doing?
Mm-hmm. So the most important step in any communication, whether it's email or face-to-face or digital or virtual communication, is to make sure that you have found your targeted group, because you are going to waste a tremendous amount of effort and time and money building and generating email or emails, plural, that continue to reach a group that's not really your target audience. And maybe you see them move, and that can be this very limiting factor for entrepreneurs. If they see some movement and they get some excitement around it, they could say, well, it's working. And then they try to throw more time and effort after it, when actually you haven't found your exact target market yet. So the first place that I would recommend that you work is to find who it is that's going to be most interested in connecting in a meaningful way. And then think about how best to connect them. I would be surprised if the answer is email marketing. I am impressed that you've had success with it in the past, but most of even product business services, haberdasheries, apothecaries, all of them, they have very, very limited success with only email marketing. So that can be a strategic tool at times. My first and most important advice is to hone your target market before you think about how you're going to talk to them.
I appreciate it. That makes sense. Thank you.
Yeah.
Can I piggyback on that real quick, Elizabeth, too? Because I always like to ask people, think about it as if yourself, right? Do you like getting your email box just full of like stuff that is trying to sell to you?
No.
Or do you unsubscribe, right? But if you find the information valuable, helpful, interesting, useful, engaging, connected, I mean, if you find some value in it, then send it. Yes, I want it more. That's interesting. That's great. I'm so glad, right? So that's the point that Elizabeth is trying to make, is that just think about it in terms of like yourself and how you receive those kinds of messages. And I guess the answer is like, it's not necessarily like there's a right kind of a pace, but there is a right kind of a content that is hitting the right kind of market, right? Your audience. So that's just to underscore that point. Just can make it more you can relate to it that a little better.
And dynamic over time too. So as you were talking, Rachel, you reminded me that it's not a format that you're like, oh, finally it works and I have my target market and they're listening to it. The dynamic nature of communication with a real person means I'm not sending this same format every time. As you were talking, I was thinking about some of the emails from brands that I genuinely look forward to getting, because they give me content that I find interesting and relative, even if the one particular brand I've never actually made a purchase from, but I just keep reading the email. So it's somewhere between dynamic and interesting content, but also motivation to buy. That's probably marketing 201. We're here at 101 right now, but.
Corey, you're up.
Yeah, I had also another question regarding like social media marketing. I had the idea of making videos, video content, like where I'd give like advice on how to clean things or, you know, what to do. And then like also like before and after kind of like stuff, or doing the process, you know, like long form kind of videos and posting it on, you know, making a YouTube channel, you know, something like that. I feel like this would go into like this would do serve a dual purpose. One, it would be like kind of like content creating or something like that with YouTube. I don't know if that would go anywhere, but that's kind of something. But you know, then it would also like help like boost or like boost my own like brand or whatever, you know. Like it would bring awareness to my, like, you know, people would like watch me for like advice or such, and then like, you know, it would like, I don't know, build my brand or something somehow. I don't know.
So what you're saying is it would legitimize you, and that's true. So if you have a series of short videos that legitimize you by saying, you know, here's before and after, look what I did. This legitimizes my brand. This legitimizes me as a subject matter expert. That could be an effective tactic. The part that I like to mention continually about social media is that it should not be many individual platforms that you have to maintain and grow. There should be one place. All roads lead home. There should be one place that has all of the information that your prospective customer needs to know. And typically that's a website. And if you create a series of TikTok posts with the before and after steam cleaning event, that post leads to your website so that all roads lead home, and you're not trying to recreate, here's how to contact me, here's how much my prices are, here's my availability on multiple platforms. So what I heard you say is that these videos could legitimize you as a subject matter expert and a professional cleaner, and that's absolutely true. But I encourage you to be sure that they lead to one place that you have to maintain. Otherwise, you're going to burn out really quickly.
Okay, yeah, because right now my biggest page right now is my Facebook page, So I kind of have a Google website. It's a Google business website, but most people like don't really see it because I have to like put a lot of money into that kind of marketing. But the Facebook one is pretty good. It's doing pretty
That's
well.
fine. Facebook can be home right now. There's just one place that you maintain and update continually.
Okay.
And that right now could be Facebook, but make plans to shift that to a more permanent and accessible location long-term. It doesn't have to be tomorrow. That's not the crocodile closest to the boat. If you have one place right now, you can point TikTok back to there.
Okay. Cool.
Also, I need to understand, like, how do you think it costs so much money? Like if you have a website, unless you're like trying to buy ads or something to promote it.
Well, like setting up the website, which is not really that expensive. But the I guess I assume like the marketing, I think like Google has like a thing where it's like what, $300 a month or something like that. I don't know.
And
I'm not
see, what
entirely
you're talking about
sure
is,
on how
yeah,
much
I'm
that
glad I just needed to mention that because you're not the only one who thinks in terms of like, oh no, I got to promote it. I got to buy the ads. I got to start the machine. I need to feed the leads through there. I think what Elizabeth is saying is have a home base so that when you get those relationships, you have that credibility of a place where people can find you online. You can send people to that one place as you get them. You're not driving random strangers to that site yet as you're building, right? You're building relationships based on the work that you do. And your site is your home base that you can control how to contact me, how to hire me, capabilities I have, right? Like it's just like a place. And you're using Facebook as that now, and that's fine. But I really don't want you to think about like the monetization of like how you need to buy the ads and target the random traffic. I think initially it's about having that home base, like Elizabeth was saying, that does not have to cost hundreds of dollars a month at all. It's just a place that you've set up online. Does that help?
Yeah. Okay.
We've got Jarek, Renaya, and Sabina all ready to go.
Is it my turn?
Go ahead.
All right, here's another general question for you. All right, so how would location affect marketing?
Full stop. Okay. How would location affect marketing? How would a physical location of a business impact the marketing strategies that you would use? That's the whole question. Okay.
That
So
is the whole question. Yes.
the whole question. I sometimes think there is a plant in the audience and I'm being punked. It might be you tonight, Jarek, but okay. I can answer this with a serious response. Your location impacts your marketing if it is a differentiating factor. So if you are located so far out of a major metropolitan area that people have to make you a destination, then you need to include it in your marketing. If you're rural, is your haberdashery named rural? No, okay, because that's a terrible name for a haberdashery. I was just gonna give you some feedback on that, okay. So if you are located so far out that it has to be a destination, it's absolutely part of your marketing. If you are located inside of a really well-known place, if you have an apothecary in the Eiffel Tower, absolutely going to be part of your marketing plan for sure. Everything else between those extremes, it can be ancillary to the story you're telling, but it shouldn't be the main message. Did I win? Did I win the prize on that one or not?
Well, no, I was kind of thinking like, so our community has a really nice downtown and a lot of up and coming little cafes and stuff are starting to pop up there. And that would probably be a great place for a haberdashery, and but I was curious if marketing there versus marketing, a mile away in another area that's more, I guess, newer, which I'm not a big fan of. I like older stuff, you know, hence the haberdashery kind of dig, but I just don't understand how marketing would affect it differently if I did one versus the other.
I think instead of marketing, your target market is going to change versus if you did one versus the other. So I think the type of clientele that you're going to attract and continue to have a relationship is going to be a little bit different between the two. But the message about your service and what makes you different, that will probably be pretty much the same in either one of those locations, because it's within that range of like not quite remarkable. You don't have to travel 2 hours out of your way to get there, or it's not in the Eiffel Tower.
So you're saying I need to just stick with the downtown idea?
Well, I think you heard what you wanted to hear there. So yes, stick with the downtown idea. Yes.
Jarek, Rachel did say something in the chat, if you can view that. And Renaya had to step away for a quick phone call. So Sabina, we'll hear from you.
Thanks. I wanted to go back to the website thing. Yeah, starting on social media and Facebook or whatever, great. But then eventually you want to move to somewhere a little bit more permanent or like website based. And I've gone through, and I even have some like design, a little bit of design background, architecture background, but I still have not found a super easy, quick, like user friendly, I can make a website and just get some information on there kind of thing that does not cost a bunch of money, that I need to hire somebody to do it because I don't have the time to sit down and teach myself. Any recommendations on like where a good place to start would be?
Pamela knows.
Yeah, I randomly found it, and this was when I first started my business in 2016. When I was it's called Fat Cow, and I built a website myself. It was just easy. I think it's $435 for the year, but you get a website and a professional email account. So you're able to, get your emails through that account. So that worked great for me. Because I'm working as well. So it's like my focus is not on the business. So eventually I'm going to have to move away from work and focus on the business. But I think that's a really good web company or whatever you want to call it. But I don't even remember how I found them, but it's called Fat Cow.
Did you keep that for a while? Did you stay there?
Yeah, I still have it. They just keep on like constantly remind me like, hey, you need to update your domain, but it's really a good company.
Could you take payments through there? Because I find that's another part that's pretty hard if you want to like have customers do payments through websites.
I didn't do payments through there. The only reason why that I really focus on having a professional page was through government contract. And if they do market research, they're supposed to be able to have a website to put in within a packet. Because I used to work, I was on the other side of that. So that's a part of the market research. Is anyone is they're going to solicit you, you have to have like a professional website. So that's why I went into that direction. But those were the two things that it was good for. It was you could create the professional website, and then you could also create, you also have a professional email account. So it's not like, your Google or, Gmail or Yahoo. It would be a professional one.
Thanks, I appreciate that.
No problem. I thought it was inexpensive.
Loving the commentary back and forth. You guys are really participating with each other. It's great. Renaya, you're back.
Okay, yes, so sorry about that. Okay, so it was actually two things. So the first thing, while it's right on my mind, I believe it was for Corey. I know here you guys were talking about like focusing on maybe one platform, or just where all your audience can, your customers or clientele can go to. I know, personally speaking, from my mother who's back home in New York, upstate New York, that being said, because we're from Buffalo. And I do all the research. When she says, oh, I need this, that, and the third done, knowing that she's alone, the things I look at, does it have a website? Okay, if it does have a website, what are the reviews like? Do they have any pictures? Because anyone can create reviews. They can, pay someone or contract someone to do reviews. So now I want to look at the pictures, that kind of thing. And I try to look at the length of business. So I do try to do as much research as possible by this one website. And then I relay that information to my mother and I say, listen, I don't think this is a good idea. Or yes, I think so based on this information I found on that website. People in my mother's age group, they're not going to be on social media as much on Facebook. The problem is, so you got to, I guess, when you think about your target audience, remember some of them may not be on social media. My mother is on Facebook, but I have to get on her because she's buying all kinds of stuff from China and it has European plugs. It has all this extra stuff. And I'm like, what are you doing? Stop. So I have to monitor that. But again, back to the target audience and, the platform you're using, does it reach out to that target audience? I guess is what I want to say with that. That was for Corey. And then as for myself, I asked this question back in week 1. My main concern is, okay, I get the creative value. I think it is. Trying to go through my notes. Trying to talk fast. So when it comes to design thinking, or sales, marketing, oh my gosh, question just left me. My concern is intellectual theft. I've gotten this far. I'm already ready to market. Now what I do, I got to have everybody sign an NDA. How do I do this to protect this, possible? Because what I'm looking to sell is a product that I have never seen. I really feel very excited about this product and I'm hoping to get this launched as soon as possible. But again, I'm marketing and now people's like, and those who have those resources, it's like, jump on it. And now what do I do? So I'm trying to prevent that from happening.
Okay. So as the mother of a recently licensed 16-year-old, I'm here to tell you, you can't prevent it from happening. It's going to happen, and prepare yourself for the accident. Now, how you can prepare, and in your case, specific to your product, you're going to apply for a trademark. If you have something that is unique and has never been done before, you're going to apply. Have you applied for a design patent? Have you applied for any sort of protection?
I have not.
Okay, so if you truly have something that has never been done before, then you're going to apply for protection and then you have the patent pending. Even if you have a patent, it doesn't mean that other people aren't going to do it. It just means you have the legal right to pursue action against them if they copy what you have, which means you have the ability to spend a ridiculous amount of money to go after someone and try to get them to stop making a knockoff of your product, only to have 5 more competitors pop up. So go ahead and file for protection if you truly have something that's never been seen before, but in either case, it's going to happen. So what you need to do is prepare yourself for differentiating factors that complement the product, your service, your quality, your delivery system, your website, the fact that you're a veteran-owned business, the fact that you are whatever it is that makes your business different than the knockoffs that will come. You have to think about building that into your product offering.
So what makes me stand out? Even though there's going to be a bunch of copycats, what is it that makes you say that consumer say, you know what, this is what made me stick with them? Like made in USA. We're big on products being made in USA, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sometimes entrepreneurs say, well, I'll just tell people I was the first one to think of it. That's not it. So that's not the differentiating factor. Made in the USA might be, or any other differentiating factor of your business. Build that along with the launch of this product that nobody's ever seen before.
Okay. All right. So I got to look into that as well. Okay. Thank you so much for that, Elizabeth.
Yep.
Sorry, I was talking fast. I had caffeine too.
I could tell. Thank you.
Any other questions for Elizabeth before we sign on for the evening or sign off for the evening? I haven't had caffeine.
Just one quick thing. How do you feel about word of mouth? And because I had a few ideas, like, well, of course I give out business cards, flyers, right? Run ads. I also had an idea of my logo and my phone number on that I leave behind. Certain reasons, like to soak up things or whatever. But like word of mouth advertising, or because apparently, like, that's, I don't know, like, people tell me like that's the best form of advertising or something. I'm not sure.
You're talking about ambient advertising, which is having your name or your company's contact information on a product, even if it's a leave behind, that reminds people of your service and then might trigger them to share it with somebody else. So that is one tactic and can be effective. If you're talking about word of mouth advertising, that's a different tactic, and that would be best traced through referrals. So if you really want to track, if I'm telling Rachel to use you as the cleaning service, then you're going to offer some sort of referral incentive so that you can track how many people I tell to use your service. Both can be effective tactics, but be strategic about them. All tactics should be strategic, but particularly if you're thinking about any sort of discount or giveaway. One of the major topics that I talk about when we have an extended length of time to talk about entrepreneurial marketing is don't give your product or service away for free. Anytime you discount it or give it away for free, you tell your customer it's not worth the full value. So if you have a discount for referral, you need to be able to trace that return on investment so that you can say, I didn't give that 10% discount away for free. I actually gained over the life of this new customer X amount of dollars to compensate for that discount. So if you're going to do word of mouth, have a referral tree or a referral structure in place that you can track your return on investment.
Okay. Yeah.
All right. So that seems like it might be it for the night. Elizabeth, do you have any closing remarks, or Rachel?
I usually give out a favorite background award, and yeah, I think I'm gonna have to stick with Jennifer. Uriel came close. It just is a little too sunsetty, makes me sleepy. Jennifer is a little bit more pizzazz. Good morning. So favorite background award handed out. I think I already have a TA or two, and then person that didn't get kicked out of the class, only to my credit, is Jarek. So I think all of the awards have been handed out. Yes.
Thank you very much, Rachel. And thank you all for being here with us. We will have this Zoom recording posted to Blackboard tomorrow morning. And don't forget to be involved in the discussion. Rachel is in there constantly, so let's use it to good use. And we will, well, I will not see you, but Michaela and Rachel will see you on Thursday. So everybody have a great night.
Good night.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Thanks,
Thank you.
guys.